most recent earnings report suggests a company at its financial peak. Revenue reached $56 billion, a 33% increase over last year, while net income surged 61% to nearly $27 billion. Despite these numbers, Wall Street remains deeply skeptical of the company's long-term viability. Investors are increasingly focused on a shift in market sentiment that often signals the decline of dominant internet platforms long before they actually disappear. The daily experience for the average user reveals why that skepticism exists. The platform is increasingly defined by forced advertisements and AI-generated content that prioritizes time on app over the actual social connections that originally made the network valuable. These record-breaking profits are driven by a ruthless process of platform degradation. Meta is extracting maximum short-term value by stuffing feeds with clutter, effectively sacrificing the quality of the user experience to maintain the appearance of growth. Meta operates as a behavioral modification empire. Their business model relies on tracking your every move to sell changes in your perception and behavior to the highest bidder, using your attention as the baseline product. This surveillance engine suffered a major blow in 2021. Apple gave users the option to stop apps from tracking their activity across other websites, blinding Meta's primary data collection tools on millions of devices. The financial impact was immediate. By losing the ability to perfectly target its audience, Meta began losing an estimated $10 billion in revenue every single year. Standard corporate logic would dictate a change in strategy, but Mark Zuckerberg's dual-class share structure makes him a corporate dictator. He holds 60% of the voting power, despite owning only 13% of the equity, meaning the board has no power to fire him or overrule his decisions. Faced with the loss of his primary tracking advantage, an unchecked CEO began a multi-billion-dollar pivot, fueled by the fear of becoming irrelevant. The first move was a failed attempt to own the hardware ecosystem. Meta burned $80 billion on Reality Labs, betting that users would strap heavy screens to their faces to attend virtual meetings as legless avatars, a concept that has struggled to find a real audience. As the Metaverse project stalled, the company pivoted again to join the general AI race. Driven by a fear of missing out, they abandoned their core strengths to build a massive language model from scratch to compete directly with Google and OpenAI. This shift requires a massive physical infrastructure. Meta has to buy hundreds of thousands of high-end NVIDIA chips up front just to participate in the race. The costs are staggering, with capital expenditures for AI projected to hit $145 billion in 2026. The total bill for this new direction is approaching $250 billion. Meta is risking its entire financial future on a technology pivot it cannot yet fund through its existing ad revenue. They are pouring billions into a space where they lack the foundational prerequisites to win. To hide this financial strain from investors, Meta has begun using accounting structures reminiscent of Enron. They are deploying off-balance sheet maneuvers to keep massive debts from appearing on their primary books. One example is a massive data center in rural Louisiana. It is registered to a shell company named Beignet Investors LLC, where Meta owns only 20% and leases the space, masking the true cost of their infrastructure expansion. The desperation has also led to corporate piracy. To train its AI, Meta employees systematically downloaded over 260 terabytes of pirated books from shadow libraries and stripped away copyright metadata to hide the theft. Mark Zuckerberg personally canceled a $200 million budget to legally license training data. Now, major publishers and authors like Scott Turow have filed a class action lawsuit for using their copyrighted work without permission. Internally, the company is even tracking 72,000 of its own employees. New software captures every keystroke and mouse movement, effectively using current workers to train the AI that will eventually automate their roles. These shell companies and data theft are symptoms of a severe liquidity bottleneck. The company is refusing to pay for assets it used to afford easily, signaling that the core business can no longer sustain Zuckerberg's ambitions. This $250 billion AI bill is the reason Facebook and Instagram feel worse today. Meta needs short-term cash to service its debt, leading to a deliberate extraction of value from the existing platforms. The company has replaced social connections with retention algorithms. Over half the content on Instagram now comes from accounts you don't follow, trapped in a mechanism to keep you scrolling past ads. The math is clear. While user growth has flatlined, Meta increased ad impressions by 19%, forcing more ads onto the exact same people. This is platform decay. Once squeezed for every bit of value, the network effect dies and the system collapses. The toxic user experience isn't a mistake. It's a feature of a company desperately trying to fund an unproven future by destroying its only profitable products. The legal protections that once shielded Meta are also failing. Recent court verdicts in New Mexico and elsewhere awarded hundreds of millions in penalties for the company's role in harming the mental health of users. Juries have now officially classified Meta's products as being as intentionally addictive as casinos or cigarettes. This sets a precedent for over 100,000 similar claims, creating a multi-billion-dollar liability that the company's current business model cannot survive. Meta is following the same path as Yahoo, by cutting user safety budgets and ignoring core product health to chase unproven trends. They are repeating mistakes that led to the collapse of the previous generation of tech giants. You can only squeeze a broken system for so long before users abandon it entirely. Meta can no longer be trusted with your data, as their focus has shifted entirely to survival at any cost. By prioritizing immediate cash over the safety and privacy of its audience, Meta is following a trajectory that has destroyed every major platform before it. A company this desperate to pay its debts is no longer building for the user. It is simply fighting to stay alive.
You have to know. You have to know. You have to know. It won't go away. It will only come closer. It will be your friend, but only be a poser. Just